A very good evening and thank you all for joining us today for our discussion on the advantages and disadvantages of online and distance learning during pandemic COVID-19. My name is Nur Isma binti Ismail and I will be the moderator for this forum. In this forum, we will try to bring together all the pros and cons for ODL during these times. As everyone knows, online distance learning, also known as e-learning, is different from physical class where the students and lecturers use varieties of technology for them to communicate instead of face-to-face, especially during this pandemic. Before we start, let me introduce to you our panelists this evening. Our first panel is Miss Nurul Fathiah binti Mat Shah, a student from Uitm Samarahan. Next, our second panel is Madam Nur Atiqah Syazwina binti Anwar, the mother of one of the students from UITM. Another panel is Madam Zaty Amalia binti Ismail, a principal from SMK Kelana Jaya. Next, we have Zarul Ayman bin Kirbadrul, a former accounting student from UITM Puncak Alam. Moreover, our fourth panel is Madam Nur Zafirah as a lecturer from the Department of Business and Management of University Malaya. Lastly, Madam Fatin Nur Insyirah binti Abdullah, a professor from UITM Segamat. Without further ado, I will turn it over to Ms. Nurul Fathiah to start her deliberation on the advantages of online and distance learning ODL.
Thank you, Ms. Moderator. I am in favor of the advantages of ODL because despite the crisis produced by COVID-19, ODL enable people to continue teaching and learning without interruption. My first point is the benefit of flexibility. One of the benefit of flexibility is a community work and other responsibilities. The student can have full control of their learning time and enable learning at their own pace during ODL. The student also can control their learning environment by allowing them to select learning modules or source material which best assists with their own understanding. According to research, online learning enable the instructor to reach their students with different geographic area as well as students who otherwise be unreachable. This shows that flexibility allows students to continue their education in this pandemic situation. My second point is the participation of students. Students can interact in real time in chat room or by posting asynchronously in a bulletin board or forum. According to the research, interaction can help increase the learning and lessen the distance involved in ODL. Also, according to professor in Central Florida, introvert who quiet in their face-to-face class participate really well in their online class. Lastly, my third point is the promotes high order thinking skills. Online lecturer can use various technologies such as Google Docs, discussion forums in Blackboard, or other activities that can help improve the critical skills of learner. A National Institute of Educational report in 1984 conclude that a college education should encourage the students to adapt changing world, and this successful adaptation require the student to have the ability to think critically, to synthesize the large quantity amount of new information. So considering the urgency and the importance of critical thinking, I am agreed that critical thinking is the skills that the students should encourage in today's high education level. And with this ODL, it really improve and help the student to increase their critical thinking. That's all for the advantages for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fatia, for your input. Now, I would like to hear from Madam Nur Atiqah Syazwina to explain more about the disadvantages of ODL. Is it true that one of the disadvantages is high expenditure for ODL equipment and the internet?
Thank you, Ms. Shazia. Yes, one of the disadvantages of ODL is the high expenditure in ODL equipment and internet bills. According to Vlasenko and Bozok, there are hidden charges in ODL such as the extra charges for mailing study materials to students. In a traditional learning situation, the students does not have to pay for those charges because the materials are directly handed to them by hand. The prices are also cheaper because they buy it directly from their lecturers who were given wholesale price by the publisher. There is also the issue of having to pay more for their internet bills. During ODL, most lectures are given through online meeting platforms which use a lot of internet. For example, Whistle stated that Zoom uses up to 2.4 gigabyte of data per hour for group meetings. The students' quota might be insufficient and need to be activated frequently, which can cost them more. My second point on the disadvantages of ODL is the lack of constant control and monitoring by lecturers. During ODL, lecturers cannot control, monitor, and supervise their students on around the clock to urge them to study. The students need to be more independent and proactive in their study since the materials are provided and they themselves need to go through it. However, students that lack self-discipline might not do so and remain laid back until there are quizzes or tests because they are too absorbed in the freedom. There are also students that procrastinate their works and assignments up till the deadline. My last point is the limited choices for faculties and programs. Not all programs can be studied online, especially programs that requires a lot of practicals such as automotive courses and art and design courses. Finding a university that offer online classes for courses that is specific or unusual such as art engineering or aerospace engineering might be difficult. There might only be a handful of options for the university, and there is also the possibility that there is no university in the country that offers them. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Atiqah, for your opinion. Next, we move to Madam Zaty. As a principal and also a teacher, do you think ODL can give benefits to your students and to the teachers? What is your opinion?
Thank you, Ms. Isma, for the question. And my answer is yes. I do believe that ODI can give us benefits. One of the benefits is self-paced learning. Different students learn in different ways. This is a method that allows students to work at their own pace. They can more focus on topic that interest them the most. According to Hegarty 2006, students report benefits of using learning technologies such as the ability at their own pace to learn independently and to have fun. It allows students to reduce frustration, insecurity, or boredom that they may struggle with in the classroom setting. Next, as stated by SADC 2009, the studies reveal that retraining and upgrading skill are benefits of ODL. This shows that ODL can actually give opportunity to students to gain some good skill. Every student needs to get a lot of good skill to use in their life and for their future, such as time management skill. These skills are essential in every aspect of life, from maintaining work life to joining the video class and completing project before due date. Okay, last but not least, learning material also become more varied. In the classroom, we also use textbook and whiteboard for teaching, but in ODL, there is an opportunity for teacher to learn and use a variety of learning material for teaching the student. For example, we can use Google Meet or Zoom for virtual class, and it allows us to record the class for students. We also can use Kahoot for the quiz and Prezi or PowerPoint to make some notes. Thus, it can attract the student to study in effective way in this hard situation. Donna J. Abernathy once said, online learning is not the next big thing, it is the now big thing. This quote shows that we need to accept this situation and learn to get used on it. That's all from me and thank you.
Thank you, Madam Zaty, for your opinion. Next, we move to Zarul. As a student, what is your take on the ODL session? Is it good or bad?
Thank you, Ms. Moderator. I strongly believe that ODI has more disadvantages than advantages. One of them is difficulty getting immediate feedback. As hard as online learning already is, getting feedback from peers or lecturers might take forever. Feedback can be immediate if you are sitting with a teacher in a classroom, because they can instantaneously look at your work and decide whether you are on the right track or not. However, online learning is different. When emailing or messaging a teacher, it could take even days or even to get the feedback that we are looking for. We have to wait for the teacher to get online and read our message in order for us to get our answer. which may not happen as frequently as we want. It is very time consuming, and by the time we get our feedback, there could be a very little time to manage necessary changes in our assignment. Next, the chances of getting distracted are also high. The chance of losing track of deadlines is high when there are no classmates remind us about pending assignments. That sense of face-to-face interaction and faculty also does make it worse. We need to have a very high self-motivation if we want to successfully complete our course. ODL is not a great alternative if someone can stick to deadlines and tends to procrastinate. Lastly, I also think that we waste a lot of money in this ODL session. Students are already paying thousands of ringgit in order to learn the course that they want. The reason that the fee is so high is that student can use the faculty and the facilities that are prepared by the university, such as the library and the computer lab. However, in distance learning, students can't even get close to those facilities, let alone using them. Lowering the fee is just logical since nobody is using the facility. I understand that they still have to pay for the facility maintenance, but the fact that there is no discount at all is outrageous to me. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Zarul Ayman. I believe that there are more pros beside cons in online distance learning. Madam Nur Zafirah, as a lecturer, do you want to add something about the advantages of online distance learning?
Thank you, Ms. Isma, for giving me the opportunity to discuss more about the advantage of online distance learning. In my point of view, transportation costs can be reduced because a student doesn't have to pay for their parking, tolls, and fuels. According to Darwin Green, fewer parking space on the campus for students will let them to park illegally. Thus, they need to pay for the parking fines. It is only can increase their expenditure. Moreover, they just states that student doesn't have to go to the same city or the same country to attend the class. For example, student doesn't have to go to their college or university that far from their house. My second point is discussion with lecturer and friends seems more easier because according to Sue and Bush, the environment of online learning can make students feel isolated and lonely. However, through discussion, students may feel more connected because they interact with each other. Moreover, discussion seems easier because, according to Nagel, students may not have to commute on crowded buses or trains just to have discussion. Um, thus, their money, time, and energy will be saved. My last point is students will get the comfortable environment in their house. For example, students can attend the class whenever they want, such as in their living room or bedroom rather than the small size of classroom. Study shows that 35% of the student progress can be affected by the environment. So good environment and comfortable environment will make students feel more focused, productive, and lead them to success. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Zafira. That is such a good point from your point of view. Madam Fatin, can you tell us more about the disadvantages of online distance learning?
Thank you, Ms. Isma. I'm glad to be here to present my point regarding the disadvantages of ODL. There are actually many disadvantages of ODL. One of it is lack of interaction. This point has been proven by the researchers from National University of Food Technologies, stating that lack of interaction is one of the disadvantages of ODL. In distance learning, studying in a group or an individual is quite difficult because there is less interaction with other classmates. The interaction between with other classmates is important because it help to develop critical thinking and problem solving skills of a person. ODL also can cause a health problem. Based on the article, The Health Impact of Online Learning, the author stated that screen time study has shown a negative impact of a long duration in front of a screen. One of it is eye strain. The more hours spent online, the more intense eye strain will occur. A study found that young people are spend 5 hours on computers, 3 hours on phone, and 2 hours watching television. As for young kids, it is recommended for them to have a maximum of an hour screen time, but due to the pandemic, the online classes requires them to have more screen time than usual. My last point is difficulty, technology, and accessibility. It is true that distance learning provides us a good chance to learn new things and technology, but it is complicated. It comes with a challenge for people who are frightened of the technology. Based on the survey made in November 2020, there are 38 respondent claims that they are lacking of IT skills. Having these challenges, having this challenge of IT competency leads to internet anxiety, hence will interrupt the online learning. That's all from me. Thank you.
So everyone has stated their own personal views regarding advantages and disadvantages of ODL. Next, I would like to hear your discussion based on the point that everyone has mentioned just now. Back to Ms. Nurul Fathiah, what is your discussion about the points? Do you have any specific points that you want to discuss?
Thank you, Ms. Moderator. Yes, I'm agreed with Madam Fatin's point regarding the difficult technology and accessibility. We know that during this pandemic, ODL is the best option for student and lecturer to continue their education. But with sudden adoption with this ODL, it brings some negative impacts to both sides. Current research shows that academic staff and students are both facing obstacles during conducting ODL. And these obstacles are such issues in unfamiliarity with the use of information technology, insufficient knowledge regarding the online learning platform, and also limited access of internet. So I think this is the major reason why people prefer face-to-face classes compared to online learning. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fatia. How about you, Madam Atika? Do you agree with any opinion of our panels?
I agree with Mr. Zarul on the high chance of distraction point as the disadvantages of ODL. We must remember that most students are usually having online classes from their own home. According to Reggie Smith III, there might be a higher distraction than usual for example, from family members or younger siblings. The students might be distracted when they are studying or doing their assignments, like being asked to cook or look after their younger siblings. When this happens on a regular basis, it makes it difficult for the students to stick to their study schedule and it will disrupt their studies. That's all from me. Thank you.
What a great explanation from Madam Atika. Now, let's move to the next panel. Madam Zaty, will you have something to say?
I think I have a different opinion on Zaro point, which say cons of ODL is waste of money because based on the article I have read, Vijay 2017 state that for any given program, the fee of a distant education degree, online or otherwise, may be much more affordable than the fee of a regular on-campus degree. Most of us have been through student life, and I'm pretty sure it costs a lot because we need to spend on food, books, transportation, and accommodation fees. But in ODL, we no longer spend the money on it because we just studying at home. We can conclude distance learning is an economically viable option for both students and parents. Thank you.
Great insight, Ms. Zaty. How about you, Zarul? Do you have anything to add?
I want to highlight Fatin's point, which is loss of interaction. I highly agree with the point because this is also aligned with my point when I say there's difficulty in getting feedback. Students need interaction with peers in order to understand how his or her workflow is. This mutual understanding is important when doing group work so that collaboration exists. In normal class, this can be built when students work together from college or when they work to go to the food court. However, it is harder to build that relationship in online class since there is no physical interaction. This makes it harder for us to get to know our classmates. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Zarul Ayman, for the good opinion. Madam Nur Zafirah, do you agree that the high expenditure for internet and equipment is one of the disadvantages of online distance learning?
Thank you, Ms. Isma, for the question. I strongly agree with that point that has mentioned by Madam Atiqah, because according to similar survey that has done by DOSM on ICT usage and access, um, um, computer usage in rural um, regions appear to be lagging, with only 54% of Malaysians in rural areas that using a computer, compared to 77.3% um, of Malaysians in urban areas. We should follow we should follow how the government of China that providing the student with computer. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Zafirah. Madam Fatin, seems like you have something to tell. Can you share with us?
Thank you for the opportunity, Miss Moderator. I disagree with Miss Fathiah's point, which is flexibility. It is true that online learning is very flexible and convenient. But since it is the first time for Malaysians to implement this method, students and teachers are not 100% ready to adapt with the online classes environment. Besides, ODL also cannot provide the college experience. Working with other students, being part of a total education environment, and collaborating with academic mentors are still valuable for students. In addition, some courses cannot be taught on the internet, especially when the courses requires physical practices. That's all from me. Thank you.
From this discussion, we can conclude that ODL is a good continuity plan for students, lecturers, and high learning institutions during a crisis such as COVID-19. However, do all of you agree that there are more disadvantages compared to the advantages of ODL?
Yes, we agree.
Yes,
Yes, I agree.
So from this, I can say that ODL has more disadvantages to the students and educators. That's all for today's discussion, and I hope that we can gain something from this discussion. Thank you everyone for joining today.